Public debt, the increasing public debt in Uganda. Our last 15 minutes are going to focus now on the national budget as we are preparing for the national budget 2022-2023. Well, last week during the launch of the national budget, the permanent secretary to the Treasury revealed that this is a pro-people budget. And one would still ask, is it a viable statement? And how true is that? Madam Christian, do you believe it's a pro-people budget? Because it says this time around, money is going to go to places it has never been. And that makes it more of a pro-people budget. Every allocated fund will be reaching people, more so starting with the parish development model.
Yeah, thank you. The ministry has always said that for all the budgets have always been said to be pro-people. But, and I think why he said that is because of the PDM this time, and then the various reliefs for the small businesses, the recapitalization of UDB, focusing on the private sector and, you know, trying to revamp the economy, which would be welcome, but we also see that our revenues, first of all, we always fail to meet the targets. Just like I told you, while we had targeted 22 trillion, we have so far collected 17. I don't think we'll go beyond 18. And now we are projecting even more. Next year we are projecting to collect 25 trillion. Oh. But we also know that even when we have given an 18%, maybe the highest, to the human capital development program, this program at least focuses on the person, yeah? You have your health, your education, and etc., your water. We see that for debt repayment, for the budget, you have, of course, to also have a share for debt repayment or debt servicing, because there's quite a lot in there. But when Uganda Revenue collects their revenues, we don't see health or human capital development taking first call on your domestically generated revenues. It has to be debt servicing that has to take first call. And we see debt is over 7 trillion, way over. And so, if we cannot then collect, if URA maybe fails to meet the target and etc., that means we can only resort to borrowing to be able to fund the budget. But remember, we are also now borrowing, we have to be frugal in our borrowing. Okay. We have seen that now the loans are going to be more expensive, and so we have to be cautious on how we borrow. And we do not want to borrow too much domestically because of the obvious disadvantages. You're crowding out the private sector. And this is a time when we need to encourage our economy to grow. And so we see that usually it is these sectors, the human capital development, the education, the health, the agriculture and etc., which have to suffer in the event that we are not able to raise the funds that we have planned to raise, which is usually most of the times. And so I don't see how different this budget is going to be from the other budgets being pro-people. Okay. Yes, because even when we say we are allocating maybe the biggest percentage of the budget to human capital development, we also need to lift the veil and see under human capital development how much is each of those sectors or sub-programs, how much is health, for instance, going to be allocated, education will be receiving about 600 billion, and then health will be receiving about 1.4 trillion. But we also see that the Abuja Declaration recommended that we have at least a 15% allocated to health for us to, to almost be there, to be at the level of, the standard where health of the citizens is, is good, really.
Okay.
But 15%, we see that it is almost the total that is given to human capital, to the whole program.
Okay.
So,
Lastly, are we ready for the 47.5 trillion budget with the current situation that even our revenue, we cannot raise the highest percentage of the set target by the revenue collectors?
Yeah, 48 trillion budget. Well, this is a bit ambitious, I would think. It's a bit unrealistic.
So we're heading back to the borrowing.
Definitely. Given the economic situation we are in, I see taxes are going to reduce because it is a bit harder. The business person, me and you, are going to make less profit.
Okay. And
so the taxes will most likely be less. And so I don't think we are going to be able to generate that much revenue. But I think what we can do, because I remember the PSS team said that it would be unfair or unrealistic for people to expect tax cuts during this budget, and he emphasized that taxation will definitely be there. The citizens will be taxed. The taxes could be increased, and yet we also want to limit borrowing. But I feel that the only way is not to overtax the citizen.
Okay.
We could tie the knot. Still, I feel we lose so much into corruption than we are even willing to admit. If we could decide to be strict with the corrupt, if we could decide to be frugal with the funds that we have, and then ensure that the institutions that are mandated to do their work can do it independently. The accountability institutions, the planning is done properly, the loans we acquire only when we are ready, when we have finished the feasibility studies and etc. And then, you reduce the waste, you reduce the hemorrhage. I believe that could be of great help.
All right.
Yeah.
Then lastly, your last remarks as we're actually parting up with this discussion.
Yeah, my parting shot is still the same because I'm passionate about corruption. We lose so much in corruption, and so we also want to see government come out. It has previously come out and said they are serious with the fight against corruption, but what we see seems to be otherwise. So we encourage government, I call upon government to tighten the noose on the corrupt, to make sure they save as much money, to be frugal with the funds that we have, reduce the districts, reduce on the numbers of MPs, the ministers, basically the funds that you need to run government. Yeah, we can reduce the expenditure and production sectors, so that we can help our economy recover even better.
All right.
Thank you very much.
That is Christine Birinjiro, who is the program manager at the Uganda Debt Network. Discussions that can never go down. Discussions that are always continuous, like this particular one of public debt. You cannot make that stuff up. It's a good morning from ours to you, and that has been our second topic of discussion in today's. Our very first was looking at Uganda's future in technology, in car manufacturing technology. Now, this particular one was highlighting on public debt. It's worrying. The concern is actually high among most of the Ugandans and most of those that understand and follow the economics of this country. And, well, the permanent secretary did reveal that you shouldn't expect any subsidy whatsoever, but then there are no chances of hiking any taxes as of now, still studying the situation of the high prices. We take a break from now. As I return, we were going to be looking at the sports business. A lot of details are coming up from there. A lot of sporting activities did happen over the weekend. A number of football leagues came to a closure, and that and more is what I have for you in sports business. Stick around. Good morning.